Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the people joining us online as well. So this talk is about putting your own mask on first, mental health and wellbeing for your business. My name is Holly Whittles. I'm the HR and InfoSec Director at Purple Frog Systems. So your in-flight menu today, mental health and well-being of employees is really important to your business. So in this session, we're going to look at what you can put in place inside your business and why it's important to look after your own mental health and well-being first. So if this is not the session you're looking for, the exit is there. So I thought that I would start with dispelling some myths. People with mental illness are weak. So mental illness is not an indication of weakness. Mental illness is caused by a couple of different factors. It could be down to genes, it could be down to family origin, it could be down to medical conditions, personality, brain diseases, and social and economic factors that could be completely out of someone else's control. So people that are suffering from mental illness exhibit extraordinary levels of bravery and courage as they try and manage and work through those struggles. Second myth is that people with mental illness are just making it up. Mental illness is a biological phenomenon as well as a physiological one. So your family history, your genes, your inheritance, your environment, your brain chemistry, and any history of traumatic events can contribute to mental illness. So no one chooses to be mentally ill, so our choices can exacerbate or mitigate mental illness. So it's a challenging struggle that I'm sure most people would rather not deal with if they had a choice. And then the third one is that people with mental illness just want attention. So there's a great deal of stigma attached to mental illness, and our culture is not that open or accepting to those that have got things like depression, anxiety, or other mental health disorders. And there's a lot of attention drawn to people with mental illness, and it's been shame-based. And because of this stigma, people that are suffering with it tend not to speak out because of society. So those are some myths that I'd like to dispel throughout this talk. So how common are mental health problems? Well, actually 1 in 4 people might experience a mental health problem of some kind each year. And 1 in 6 report experiencing some form of common mental health problem. Could be anxiety, could be depression in any given week. So those stats are actually quite high. So I wanted to get more informed about mental health. One of my roles in the business is in charge of the people and looking after their health and well-being. So I decided to educate myself, and I did a course in it. I've shared on the slides the course that I did, but it was a level 3 certificate in understanding mental health, and it was organised by the NCFE. So if you go onto their website, they're always running these courses. I did it through a local college, but you can go online and just take the course. Because I felt like I wanted to understand a lot more about it. And the qualification, it went through mental health legislation, it went through services, public attitudes, and how things have evolved over time. It went through how to support mental health well-being throughout various stages of life. Younger generations dealing with mental health might have different challenges to the older people working in our workforce. It also went through things like treatment options and the skills required. So it was a really interesting qualification. But the main thing that I took away is that we all have mental health, and it changes on a sliding scale day to day. So the term mental health is not negative. We all have it. So I really like this quote from Oprah Winfrey. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change their future by merely changing their attitude. So we need to do more talks like this, more education to change and reframe the language that we're using. Because addressing mental health concerns is not just a personal endeavour, it's a collective responsibility, and it transcends age, gender, and cultural boundaries. So leaders and activists, artists, philosophers, this quote is about seeking help and support. It's not a sign of weakness. And actually, it's a testament to strength and resilience. So we need to educate ourselves. So in other words, we need to put our own mask on first. Because if we don't, what message are we sending to others? So there are some steps that we can take. By recognising and acknowledging the impact of mental health on our overall well-being, we're taking a significant step to fostering a healthier and also a more compassionate society for everyone. So step one is actually recognising it and early intervention. So it's as simple as promoting mental health awareness in our organisations. Individuals can recognise signs of potential issues in themselves, but also in others. And this early identification allows for timely intervention and support so we can stop things getting worse. The second one is reducing the stigma around it. So more than half the people with mental illness don't receive help for their disorders. So that mental health awareness really helps break down those barriers and those misconceptions, and it makes it easier for people to seek help. The third one is encouraging that self-seeking behaviour. And according to Mental Health America, 29 million people in the US are not receiving treatment for their mental health disorders. So when people are more aware of these issues, they're more likely to seek support. The fourth one is promoting well-being. So it's about raising mental health awareness and promoting those sort of well-being standards in our organisations. So practicing stress management, being kinder to yourself, and adopting healthy eating and drinking enough water. All of those kind of things are coping strategies. And the final one is advocacy and policy change. So greater mental health awareness increases better services, increases funding, increases public health policy. So this can actually improve access to mental health resources. So mental health as a leader, so it's really crucial that we are leading from the top. And this stat is really high. According to 69% of people, their managers had the greatest impact on their mental health, and that's on the par of the impact of their partner. So people are leaving organisations not because they hate the organisation, but they hate working for their manager. So things like stress and uncertainty can take a toll on the whole team if your manager is really difficult to work with. So leaders need to prioritise their own mental health and manage their expectations, and they need to reach out for support when they're struggling. And leaders can also then boost their team's well-being by modelling those good habits and communicating better about mental health. So in terms of the leadership role in an organisation, leaders therefore have a really critical role to play in creating those conditions for a positive, welcoming workforce environment. One of the key ones is managing yourself. So a lot of managers and leaders that I've worked with, they try and shield team members from stressful challenges, and they take on some of the toughest work or the extra work. They're working longer hours, they're putting more stress on themselves. Long hours can intrude on their own personal boundaries. So as a leader, you need to lead by example. You need to say no if it's too much work for yourself or the team, and resist the urge to take that work on for yourself, because people will watch how you manage your workload. So if they see you stressed out, taking on more and more and more and more, by nature, they will start copying that behaviour. So don't overload yourself. You need to train others. And the key thing is to delegate and empower people. So it's building the right team underneath you that eventually, once they're trained up to speed, they are a highly performing team, and you can step back and you can allow them just to get on with it. So it's ensuring that you've got really good team working happening, really good communication, really good coordinating, so everything doesn't keep falling back onto your shoulders. The second one is recognising your impact. So managers often fail to realise the impacts of themselves on other people's well-being. So people are influenced by everything they see around them, but leaders have the most impact, and people tend to put leader behaviour under a microscope. So paying real close attention to the language that you're using, the way that you present yourself is really important. And a vital characteristic of leaders that are managing their own mental health and well-being is recognising and empathy and doing things because it's the right thing to do, because it has positive impacts on innovation, engagement and retention. So it's simple as asking people how they're doing, reaching out to them when you see they might be not quite right, asking them if they need support, especially if they're working on a really big project or especially challenging problem. Third one is giving people a reason to care. So when people feel connection to a purpose in a bigger picture, they tend to feel better about their work as well. So it's reminding people about the vision and the mission of the organisation and being really clear about how their work matters. Sometimes just saying thank you. It's just recognising the efforts that people have gone to. And especially when we're working more of in hybrid fashion, this is even more important because people that are remote working may feel struggling to connect with the rest of the organisation and its culture. So it's really important about managing expectations and how their work fits in. It's just as important. So it's about inspiring them and giving them a real clear sense of what success means for their job and how it's contributing to the overall success of the business, their colleagues and the customers. So the leadership role is about connecting people. So you can positively impact on people's well-being by making sure that you're accessible, you're responsive. If your door's always closed and you're looking really stressed, people aren't going to reach out to you. So it's about being available and getting back to people quickly, especially if they're trying to escalate something or ask for help, and being really clear about how they can reach out to you. So when leaders are more present and more accessible, that contributes to trust and positive team culture, and it helps establish that person's own sense of their role and how they fit into an organisation. Another thing is providing challenge. One of the misunderstandings about stress is that less is more, but in reality, people need just the right amount of stress. With too little challenge, people are going to lose motivation, they might burn out, just as they will do with too much. It's getting that right balance of workload, and that's having the right person in control, controlling that flow of work. So you're giving people opportunities to learn and develop rather than just leaving them to flounder. And it's asking them, what do they want in their current roles? Where do they want to move to next? How do they want to be developed? And don't assume that everyone wants promotions within the same department. What one person wants as a challenge might turn someone else off. So it's just trying to work with that person. And that's something that we very much do in our organisation. We often get asked for a job description, and we're like, well, I can give you one, but until I've got the person sitting in front of me, we don't know what their skills and strengths and weaknesses are. So we tend to build a role around a person. We take on clients that we want to work with. It's all about creating a really good, high-performing team. And also it's about being curious about people and what motivates them and trying to match the best work to them. So it's giving people a choice. They're more likely to experience all kinds of well-being if they feel like they have a choice and that they are helping shape a positive outcome for the business. So it's about filing your flight plan. So mental health awareness plays a vital role in organisations. So we need to take into account a couple of different factors: physical health, emotional health, financial health, psychological well-being, and social well-being. So I've listed here some things that you could implement straight away into your business to assess how people are getting on. One simple thing is employee wellness surveys. Is actually documenting it in your staff handbook, having a strategy, providing things like access to private healthcare. So if people have got issues, they can go and book sessions with counsellors. Doesn't have to come through me. I don't know anything about it, but they've got that access. Making sure that people are rewarded properly, giving them good salary rises, pensions, making sure their package makes them feel valued. Training and awareness, attending sessions like SQL Bits where you take the team away and they're learning. It helps promote their own learning, but also it's looking after their mental health and well-being because you're skilling them and giving them more information and exciting them about the future. A really important thing that we do is staff one-to-ones. So every month we sit down away from projects, and that's the one opportunity to say how you're feeling, how you're getting on, what's going on in your life. And it's the chance just to have an open and honest conversation. Another thing that you can do is rewarding staff for long service with adding extra holiday if they've every year that they stay with you. So it's just these kind of rewards. One thing that we try and embed is a learning culture and provide resources so people can actually access loads of information. And providing swag, actually, people like getting swag. So, what can you implement in your business? But some of the things we do in terms of health promotion activities, we signed up to tech timeouts, we've signed up to the bike to work scheme, we put in a nice water cooler in the office, we put a picnic bench outside, we do team building days, and we also bought some plants and we changed all the lights in the office. So it's about doing something that you love, taking days off, rewarding yourself, and being mindful of everyone that are working together in an office, especially if you're working in that hybrid capacity. So hopefully that's given you some ideas of things that you could implement in your business. If you're an employee, there could be things that you might want to ask for. But my message is to be kind to yourself. And I always remember what Jerry Springer used to say, and he always used to end the show with, take care of yourselves and each other. So it's really important that you leave feedback for all the speakers at Sequel Bits. They're all volunteers doing it in their spare time. And as a conference, I think it's really important that sessions like this are part of the agenda. So please do leave some feedback. I think we might have a minute if we've got some questions. I don't know whether there's any online questions. Not so far. Any questions in the room? Has everyone got Power BI aviators? If not, I can give some out. Sorry, you had a question. Yeah. So that's a really good question. So it's talking about, the question was around, yeah, I got it. The question was about when you've got a business as usual team, that we see these good practicing happening, but then when you're putting a team together for a project, that you just have consultants and all these random people coming in that don't know that culture. So the way that we handle that is we have briefing sessions with them, and we say how we want our staff to be treated, what our processes are, and even down to when we're going to have meetings, and not trying to override some of our more important meetings like the one-to-ones. Like I wouldn't have someone put in a client meeting, no matter how important it was, over one of our one-to-ones, because that is that sacrosanct time for that member of staff. So yeah, it's a really important question because we do end up working on disparate projects and people do come together. So you always need someone that's taken a step back, and I work very closely with our project manager, and I'm always looking at the team and I'm like, they don't look happy, or I'm not happy with what I'm hearing from that project person or that person that's come in. We need to report that back at a higher level to say that's not how we want to work together. So we're all about becoming a trusted partner and working with our clients, not having us butting together and arguing. So embedding that culture, but sharing it with your supply chain, with the people that supply you and also your customers is really important. So great question. Okay, well, I'll be around at Sequel Bits all week, usually hanging around the Power BI Central stand. So thank you very much. Thank you for people joining online, and enjoy the rest of the week.